Hi everyone, Tyrim here again with another pickup game from our impromptu game night this week. This one I'll be taking my Warriors of Chaos against Dwarves, and this is actually a different Dwarf player than the last one I did, so it's a different army build, and hopefully it'll work out well for me. But we're doing a 2,500 point battle line scenario. So here's our board setup. Everything's pretty normal. The one thing to pay attention to is this large tower that's right in the middle of my freaking deployment zone. Is a tower of blood, so my guys have hatred and frenzy that are starting out right next to it. So we'll go ahead and get into deployment, and I'll show you what I'm up against. First, we have a gyro bomber hanging out there behind the river. Then we have a big unit of 30 Longbeards with full command shields and the rune of stoicism. Next to that is his organ gun with the rune of forging and the rune of accuracy. Behind that is his master engineer with the great weapon and a rune of stone. Then that other unit is a unit of 40 hammerers with full command and the master rune of Stromny Redbeard. With them is his lord with 2 runes of might, rune of speed, the magnificent armor of Borg Beetlebrow on shield bearers. In the Longbeard unit, there is his BSB with 3 runes of cleaving, rune of stone, and a shield. Excuse me. And a rune smith with the master rune of balance, great weapon, and rune of stone. So, definitely 2 big ugly bricks that I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to handle. Then he's got a unit of 15 Thunderers with full command and shields. And then way over there in the corner he has his cannon with rune of forging, rune of burning, and master rune of immolation. And I just noticed that he had that, and he forgets to set it off during the game. So in addition to having some rough units I'm not sure how to deal with, he also rolled a 5 on his hatred roll at the start of the turn, so his entire army hates my entire army. Awesome. And so to face off against this mighty dwarven throng, I have a Chaos Spawn, Mark Khorne, 15 Warriors of Khorne with full command, extra hand weapons, and the Banner of Rage. Next to that, I have my level 2 Chaos Sorcerer on the Chaos Shrine. He has the Chaos Familiar, so I get 3 spells, and he has Lore of Metal, and both he and the Shrine are Mark Zinch. In front of that, I have a unit of 5 Chosen with a Champion. I'm hoping I'll get a quick free Demon Prince here to give me some extra punch with their roll that they get to make before the start of the game. Then I've got my Chimera, and he has Regen and the Flaming Breath. Next to that, I have my unit of 5 Nurgle Knights with full command. Behind them, I have my Exalted Hero of Khorne on the Chariot. This time he is my BSB, so I'm giving that a try. And he has the Sword of Striking, so he has like 7 attacks with Frenzy, Scaly Skin for a 1-up armor save, and Fear, I think. Then next to that, we have a unit of 15 Warriors of Khorne with full command, and behind them is my General Chaos Lord with basically the same build I've been giving him on my Manticore. So he's got like a 2-up armor save, 3-up ward save, rerolling 1s, Ogre Blade. He's pretty killy. The weak point there is definitely the Manticore, so I need to get him into combat pretty much as soon as I can. So dwarves get first turn, and I didn't get a picture of his movement on the gyrocopter, the gyro bomber, but he flies the gyro bomber out in front of my lines so that next turn he'll be able to hit me and bomb me out. And then he just turns everybody just slightly. This picture is to show he rolled the Winds for Magic just for shits and gets 12 dice on the Winds for Magic, but he has nothing to do with them. However, he has plenty to do for shooting, and he starts off by pumping the organ gun into my Nurgle Knights and killing off 2 of them. So then we go to my turn 1, and I use the Chosen, who only got a bonus ward save during their starting roll, to charge the gyro bomber. He flees, rolls terribly. I roll decent with the the Chosen, and the Chosen run his ass down. And here you see I bring up basically everything I can. I really, really, really need to get into combat and start putting some pain on these units. Otherwise, he's just going to absolutely blow me off the table with shooting. And over on this side, my general starts making it up the flank so that hopefully I can get a bit of that cannon and get it off the board before it does too much damage. So during my magic phase, I end up getting final transmutation off on his hammer unit, and he's holding up 10 fingers there because I killed 10 of them, or 11 of them, I think. But this was when he looked at his list and realized that he had only put 30 of the 40 down. So it doesn't look very different. I think he had to take one out of this unit to even it up. But it's a start. Too bad I can't really rely on the stupidity to do anything. With dwarves being freaking 10 leadership rerollable. But it's a good start. Definitely taking out 25% of that unit up front is good. So we go to dwarf turn 2, and he really surprises me. His hammerers decide to make a long bomb charge against the Nurgle Knights and succeed. So I'm pretty sure those Nurgle Knights are dead, but the nice thing is it's pulled him out of position. I'm hoping I'll be able to put a couple of units into him now and hopefully start whittling down those hammers because they're scary. And then over here he just turns to have the Longbeards look at my Chimera, which is fine. I am so not about to throw the Chimera by himself into a unit of anything here. Then over here his organ gun shoots absolutely pathetically and only kills 2 of the Tzeentch Knights. However, his cannon does much better and one-shots my BSB right the hell off the board. He ends up threading the cannonball through this, 2-inch gap between the Nurgle Knights and the Tzeentch Warriors and just, hits them both, hits the character and the chariot, and does 6 wounds to each. It was pretty ridiculous. And then in close combat, of course, the hammerers just chew up the Nurgle Knights. I think I killed 1 or 2 of them. It wasn't very much. He hits here and then overruns. He was hoping to get out of my front arc and actually does not do so. So I'm very, very close to his front arc here, and I can see the last guy in that unit. So hopefully the Tzeentch Warriors will get in there and be able to hold him up for a little bit. So on my turn 2, I actually reconsider throwing the Tzeentch Warriors in immediately because that hammer unit's still pretty scary. I need to do some stuff to it. So over here, I declare no charges. Over here on my left side, I basically bunch everything up. I've got the Chosen that are going to act as chaff for his Longbeards. I brought over my Chaos Spawn, and I've got the Chimera pointed so I can breathe fire on the hammer unit. Everything else kind of bricks up so that I can move it when I need to, and I've got the Khorne warriors there so that they can pretty much go wherever I need them to, because there's some killy in there, and I just need to apply it correctly, and I think I will be okay. Then over here you see I fly up my general to within a couple inches of his cannon, figuring that I'm safer being grape shotted at than taking the cannonball to the face. And then I about face my Tzeentch Warriors so they're facing the flank of the dwarves there. So I'm hoping I'll survive one more turn of his shooting before I can get in there and start mixing it up. And during magic, he manages to stop me, but during shooting, the Chimera breathes fire on the hammer unit and just kills a whole mess of them there out of the back, that big old dead pile you can see. So now this unit of hammers is looking a little bit more handleable. I still know that knowing this particular player and how he builds his Dwarf Lords, that's going to be a bitch to deal with, but I'm at least feeling a little better about going in there with some units now. So we go to Dwarf turn 3, and he basically swift freeforms and backs up a little bit, still keeping my Tzeentch Warriors in his flank, but now he's got the front on the Chimera and the Chaos Spawn if I choose to go in there. And I also believe... No, he didn't try and charge these guys. I think he might have moved them up a little bit so that he could get a charge next turn if I didn't come into him. So I think that's what we're looking at there. And then the organ gun goes off and blows my poor Chimera to Kingdom Come. So, yeah, at least he took off a couple of ranks of hammerers before he became a greasy spot on the ground. But what you gonna do? So we go into my turn 3, and obviously my lord charges into the cannon, and we'll make short work of this. Unfortunately, there's no way, with how close he was to the edge, that I'd be able to hit so I could overrun towards the Thunderers, so I'm just going to kill this and reform. And because I want to have the momentum, I go ahead and charge my Chosen into the Dwarf Warriors. Pretty sure I'm going to lose this one on static combat res, but at least the fight happens here instead of in the middle of the area where I need to do the maneuvering for my other units. And here is where we make good things happen. Tzeentch Warriors obviously charge in the flank. I have a long bomb charge into the flank with the Khorne Warriors, but I end up making it. So they get in there, and the Chaos Spawn does his random movement right into the front. He's touching the Dwarf Lord, so I'm pretty sure that Dwarf Lord's going to eat him for breakfast, but at least it stops the Dwarf Lord from making way into either of the other units. Figuring if I can get some good rolls, I can go ahead and chew this unit down while I'm basically sacrificing the Chaos Spawn to the Dwarf Lord, and if I can do that, I think it's a pretty good play. So during Magic, I managed to get off the spell that gives everybody in that main fight Scaly Skin 5 up. So those are like 1 up and 2 up armor save warriors, which is pretty awesome. I also got off the spell from the bound spell from the War Altar, so I gave the Tzeentch Warrior +1 strength and the Khorne Warrior +1 toughness, which was absolutely the opposite way that I wanted that to happen. But we go into combat, and as predicted, my Lord on the Manticore just absolutely eats this cannon unit and turns to face the flank of the Thunderers. And in this fight, as predicted, the Dwarf Lord just absolutely murders the spawn. I've got the Tzeentch champion doing the challenge, and he answered with his champion. I think we fluffed at each other. But then my Khorne Warriors, who I was expecting to come in there and be brutal, just absolutely flubbed. They had, 25, 30 attacks. I did 2 wounds. It was absolutely painful to see. I wasn't hitting, I wasn't wounding, and I mean, it wasn't even that he was rolling armor saves and something. It was like literally out of the 2 wounds I did got through, but out of 30 attacks, needing 4s to hit and 4s to wound, I did 2 wounds. So that was embarrassing. I think I have him beat on combat res, but he's stubborn leadership 10, so who cares? He's not going anywhere. And over here, things go bad as well. I don't kill any of the dwarves. And rather than killing me to a man like I was hoping they were going to, they kill all but one of them, and that one obviously breaks and overruns. So now that was kind of a wasted effort because the dwarves are where I didn't want them anyway, and they're right in the face of my relatively unprotected Chaos War Shrine, and it's going into their turn 4. So things are really starting to turn against me here. And there you go. So on his turn, he slams the dwarves into the Chaos War Shrine. These are Longbeards. And I'm in trouble. There's an awful lot of static combat res there, and I'm going to have to challenge, so I don't think I can generate enough wounds to counteract it, and that makes me very nervous. And then over here, he reforms his Thunderers to look at my Manticore Lord, so that when I charge, he'll get a stand and shoot reaction. So we go into combat here. Still not going great for me. I'm kicking out a lot of attacks, and I'm only slowly chipping away. I do inflict more wounds this turn than last turn, but he does some wounds to me as well. His Lord's still out of combat because I don't know why. He chose not to make way with him, which was a little strange. But I think I do win the challenge with the Tzeentch Warrior at this point. So we go into my turn 4. I charge the Manticore Lord into the Thunderers, which I I was hoping they would flee from terror, and they don't. So I'm going to have to fight this out. Oh, and to make matters worse here, he ends up standing and shooting with the Thunders, and he puts a wound on the Manticore. So that was kind of frustrating. And I'm sorry I didn't show this battle last turn, but I challenge, he accepts with his champion, I crush the champion, lose to combat res, break, and escape. So this is me reforming on my turn. I'm hoping just to start throwing final trans at that unit and getting it down to the point where I'm not going to instantly lose from combat res. And I do hit the unit and with the final trans, and I think I take 10 off, 8 or 10, something like that. So we go into combat. I do enough wounds to the Thunderers to break them, but fail to run them down, which leaves me right here within just beautiful short range of his organ gun, and that's going to be a bad day. So this fight continues. Hammerers are dying left, right, and down the center, but his Dwarf Lord is within a challenge with my Tzeentch champion right now, and they can't kill each other this turn. So he still has some hammers left, so he's stubborn 10 and succeeds at no problem. So on dwarf turn, obviously he charges the front of my shrine again. I can't run because I'm too close to the edge of the board. And funny thing, that counter there is one of Token Gal's counters. To mark that when I killed his champion last turn, my wizard got +1 strength from Eye of the Gods, so that was pretty cool. And here he rallies the Thunderers, and he's going to move the Master Engineer out in front of the organ gun so that I got to challenge it. There were two. Okay, so I forgot. It didn't just do 1 wound on the champion on the Manticore with their stand and shoot. They did 2 wounds to 1 wound to the Manticore, but 2 wounds slipped through on my general. So my general's only got 1 wound left at this point. And then during shooting, the organ gun just lets loose into him. Manticore dies. And my general manages to make all his ward saves this time. So he's sitting at 1 wound in front of half the freaking Dwarven army. And there's nothing I can do. So I don't have a model for the general on foot yet, so I'm just using this chosen one to stand in for him. And during combat, wow, this looks familiar. I have to challenge, his Rune Lord steps up, I inflict a wound on his Rune Lord, he doesn't do anything to me, but I lose to static combat res, break, and escape. And over here, there's finally so few hammerers to kill that I lose combat. He kills a couple of Tzeentch warriors and a Khorne warrior. I only kill a couple because my Khorne warriors are fluffing on me like crazy. And my Tzeentch warriors end up breaking from combat and running to where you see them now. I've got basically a little over a rank of Khorne warriors left, and so he turns to face me now. And that's bad. I'm very worried for my Khorne warriors here, but they've been rolling like shit for 2 turns, so maybe they deserve a little short, hairy death. So on my turn, I go ahead and charge the engineer with my general. Probably not the right choice. I probably should have charged the organ gun. But I was thinking that for some reason that the engineer was worth more points, and I was wrong. But there's that. My Tzeentch warriors rally, thank God, and face the back of what's left of that dwarf unit. And my War Shrine and character rally once again and face the Longbeard unit. So I don't get final trans off on the Longbeards again, so we go into combat, and I guess the Khorne warriors were just reveling in the hate I was pouring down on them for being terrible, because they decide to show up for work. They kill off the last 2 hammerers, and the Dwarf Lord doesn't actually manage to put any wounds on them because he's more defensively built than offense. So Dwarf Lord is down by 3, no longer stubborn, and outside of the BSB range, and he breaks and gets run down. And that is an absolutely awesome point swing for me. Getting the hammers plus his dwarf lord may have given me enough to get back in this game. I know I've lost an awful lot, but we may be getting close to an even point, and I'm getting excited now. Oh, and my general, I didn't get a picture of it. My general obviously killed the whatchamacallit, the engineer, but I failed to reform right, so I actually don't have a line of sight on his organ gun, even though I think I do at this point. But we go into dwarf turn 5, and what's left of the Longbeards go charging into my shrine with the Chaos Sorcerer on it. And I'm doing good. I'm taking a lot out of this unit, but it still has plenty of threat for me. And I guess we'll have to see how it goes. And this is where you see he's pivoted the cannon or the organ gun out of the way, and because the dudes don't count, he just moves them to the other side, and now I don't have a line of sight on anything. But he tries to shoot me and absolutely fails to do any wounds with anything against my general here, so I'm super happy about that. However, during combat, same song and dance. I do a little bit of wounds. He does no wounds, but I lose by static combat res, and I finally don't run far enough to get away, and the Longbeards run him down. So, bottom of turn 5, since I can't get into his organ gun, I'm going to charge my general right into his Thunderers and hope I can just put enough pain on them to not lose by static combat res. But at this point, I think it's so close, I need some extra points, and this is the only way I'm going to get them. And because they're so far out of the combat, the two warrior units just turn to watch their master at work and pray to the dark gods that he succeeds. So during combat, I take out 4 Thunderers, but they're stubborn and they don't break, which is good, because now it means that I've got one more turn, or basically a couple more turns of combat, since it's going into 6, that I can destroy them. But he's not going to get another shot at my general with his organ gun, so that worked out in my favor. So this is the last pick I have of the game. He used his organ gun to take out a few more of my Corn Warriors, but he didn't destroy the unit, so he doesn't get points for that. But my general does not manage to cleave through enough Thunderers to kill that unit either, so a lot of blood on the battlefield. He's still got some units, including the Longbeards, which are off to the side that you can't see. But I've still got 2 big units of warriors that he didn't get points for, and my general. So we really weren't sure how this went, and had to go to the points to figure it out. And so, after totaling up the points, it was a victory for the Warriors of Chaos by only 119 points. So, definitely being able to take out the general and the hammer unit was really what swung it for me. But it was a good game. It was definitely tight. I was a little frustrated because my dice rolling was just this side of terra pathetic. I was thinking it was Lord Tremendous. Actually, I'm a little concerned about that because the model I used for my BSB did come from Lord Tremendous. I'm wondering if his dice luck didn't hitch a ride on that model and come on over, because I've been having some absolutely atrocious luck since I painted that. But no, I really appreciate the model. I just need to figure out. I need to get some new dice. I've added too many armies, and the 2 boxes of dice I have just apparently don't have enough luck to spread it around. So I need some more dice. Other than that, as far as my list build goes, it's good. I think I'm gonna try. I have a Tzeentch Lord on disc that I'm gonna try putting together and painting, and switch that out for the Manticore Lord. See how that works. I did miss my Slaughter Brute. I didn't take him this game because I wanted to try the stuff with the Chosen and the BSB and whatnot, and so I ran out of points, so I didn't put him in, and I miss him. I love that model, and more monsters equal good monsters. So maybe if I switch to a Lord on disc, I can put him back in. I don't know. I have to play with it. But the Corn Warriors and the Zinch Warriors are definitely the way to go. I might try. I've got some Marauder Horsemen painted up. Might try and get some chaff out there, but you don't really need too much chaff dealing with the dwarves. He moved, frankly, a lot more than I expected him to in this game. But in general, you don't really need it because they're not really doing a whole lot. But all in all, it was good. I got to give credit to my Zinch dude on the shrine there. He even though he eventually lost, he kept that fight and the run and the chase going so long that it kept those Longbeards out of being able to come back and support the Hammerers, which definitely contributed to my win here. If those Longbeards had gotten in on the fight too, my Corn Warriors would have been dead. The Zinch Warriors would have been overrun. It would have been a bad day. So definitely some thanks to that. To the fact that the shrine can run so fast. Must be the new Nurglings I put there rather than the other shrine carrier. Makes them much faster. But all in all, this was a fun game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. And if this is your first video you're seeing, please subscribe. This is one of our just normal kickoff games, but we do a lot of narrative and campaign stuff, so definitely check us out and subscribe if you like what you see. Other than that, guys, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.